Oh, we are a little early this morning. Oops. Sorry. But we'll go. Live anyway. So, good morning, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I am your host. My name is Jared. If you so choose to seek me out on other platforms as though my daily availability is not enough for you, don't. But here's my blue sky. I've posted there a little more recently, not political stuff. Um, so there. Okay. And as we do every day to start the show, instead of me sitting behind a graphic and yapping, just share war. Objects that are the same shape. Got me. Oh, the A's. Alright, so here is war. From Edwin Starr. Whether you served or not, you'll recognize the tune. You've heard it many times. Let's get to it. Again, want to start as we did yesterday, actually, by saying, hey, everybody that participated in the May Day protests, and on the 30th, on Wednesday, right? Is that right? On Wednesday, there was a LGBTQIA plus march in DC. And speaking of dates, we might want to get to it. Talking about May, okay? So when we think about what's going on here in May, the first thing that comes to my mind is every Saturday is a Tesla takedown protest near you. Okay, so while I try to round up a calendar, okay, just search for that. Oh, I lied. Is there not one in? USA events schedule. Okay. So there's a 24/7 sit-in. Okay. Daily 12 to 2 speeches, demonstrations, workshops, live art. Mayday Movement USA. It looks like from May 1st through the end of August schedules up. Hey, this is a pretty good link right here. Okay. Morning vibes. Okay. Al, Debs, morning. Here's really good, nice looking calendar. It says May Day. It's 90 days. So let's talk about like upcoming here. Okay. I try to keep it in bite-sized portions. So we'll do about the next week. Okay. So I'm gonna scroll in here. All right. So today is 3rd, okay? It says cosplay as the Resistance tomorrow. I'm guessing this has to do with May the 4th, Star Wars. I guess tomorrow would probably be like the better day to talk more about Star Wars. Um, but if you watched Star Wars and you felt like, holy shit, stormtroopers are ice, there you go. And now you're part of the resistance. So on the 5th, and again, these are basically daily protests, so it's going to get sweaty. But immigration and race on the 5th, disabilities, aging, and healthcare on the 6th, labor and unions on the 7th, economy on the 8th, education on the 9th, national security on the 10th. So we sat around and we bitched and moaned and complained that we are not protesting every day. It takes every day. There's every protest every day now here for the next 90 fucking days. Um, MaydayMovementUSA.org. Okay, so we'll go to their website and check it out. Okay, perfect. We're gonna bounce around a little bit. Hold on. What did that poster say? Mayday Movement USA. My bad. Mayday Movement USA. Ah. Okay. Okay. Morning, Joanne. Here you go. Mayday Movement USA. Okay. Who's gonna be the like police? You're funny. Okay. So that's good. Good, good, good. We got us I mean, it's not broken down by like week and month, but and there's protests every single day. Um and there's a website, you know, maydaymovementusa.org. Okay. And then again, I think one of the most powerful things that I could be doing with my platform is anytime that I go live, I regularly say, "Hey, free Palestine, Slava Ukraine." Uh, here's some suppressed news. Let the people speak for themselves. That's what I'll say. I just want to make sure you understand that even if you know someone who, how do keep those plaque on the from drying out words? They've got probably a lacquer over them. You talking about the art on the wall? Hmm. Big protests. Okay. But yeah, as far as suppressed news, I think it's worth talking about how, remember Greta Thunberg, the climate activist? She was aboard um, a boat with emergency supplies meant for Gaza, and Israel attacked the boat with drones. And again, a lot of people are living in fear. I just want to continue to point out that, first of all, 100 days is like, that's like nothing. I guess Don's surprised he made it 100 days in office. I guess that's the accomplishment here. But more specifically, Donald J. Trump, in his second term in office, in the first 100 days, signed 5 bills. Five. Five. That's the least in several decades, since 1933 to be exact. So I know that you feel oppressed, but rule by executive order does not exist. That's not how any of this works. Okay? It will There will certainly be line steppers, people that will absolutely do the president's bidding, but know that there are just as many likely people to say, hey, that's not okay, and hold that person accountable. So I know that it feels like you're living under this oppressive regime, but these people are fucking stupid. And it's time we call it out. Burp. And you just say it with your whole chest. Biden did a fantastic job in office. What are you talking about? You know, one of the telltale signs that you're doing all right is the death of service members. And did you know that in Joe Biden's 4 years in office, it's the least amount of service members that have died ever during someone's tenure? So I know that you don't care about service members, but I do. And Joe Biden did pretty fucking good. The economy was continually getting better. Yeah. hmm See, the problem is capitalism. It's not who's in charge, right? The problem is if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. The rich get rich, the poor get poor, right? Regardless how you feel, I still want you to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. Okay? Wait, what did I miss? Morning, everybody. Somebody said, "Oh my God, is she okay? Is she alive? Who's alive?" Jimmy C said gas was $2.69 in January. Now it's 3.38. And I kind of agree with that, Jimmy. Right, right about the change of the presidency, right about January 20th, I went out and got gas, and I remember 2.78 at the pump closest to my house. Now I filled up twice. Keep in mind, I work from home, and I actually prefer to drive my wife's Hyundai. It's just got a nicer ride. So I don't normally drive my car very much. Mostly drive it just to have turned it on. It's a decade old. It's paid for, right? Okay. So both the times I've bought gas, it's been north of 3.30. So I just want to point out that's a full 50 cents more for gas continuously at the minimum. Remember, I said I filled up right before Donald Trump, right before January 20th, because I was starting a new job. Okay. Never know if you're going to have to go fax something. I don't know. right? Or go ship something. I don't know. Went and got gas was right 278, and now it's 330 or higher. It's 50 cents or more increase since Donald Trump's been in office. And again, let's talk about this kindly. I don't think I want to see tariffs from anyone on anyone for anything. I think tariffs are outdated and are not a good, constructive way to conduct business internationally, and it's certainly not good for your country. So, when you say China has decided to impose big sanctions on you, understand that I have the things that I need. As I told people before this regime took over, I told them to buy all the stuff you need because the prices on goods are going to go up, didn't I? Didn't I tell everybody? And as far as I'm concerned, yeah. Nope. Okay. And again, I want to point out one of the things that I don't do is I don't entertain a fool. Okay? So if I catch you in my comments kind of spitting that sideways bullshit, I'm just going to show you the door. Gonna go. You can go sit with everybody, with all the other yahoos. Okay? Oh, Greta. Okay, okay. Okay, yeah, yeah, Greta was on the Freedom Flotilla. So, it's like everything comes full circle. Yeah. Hi, kitty kitty, what are you doing? Cat's in my office. Somebody said 60 cents. Squint said 60 cents. Where they are. Oh, baby. Why'd you lock the cat in my office? Oh, that's kind of goofy. The unemployment rate of college students is high right now. We need a fight. Oh, y'all want to other agencies and agendas and interests. People that say they support a smaller government are awfully quiet right now. Give me just a second here. Sorry. My little buddy Bruce got locked in my office. He was not happy. Sorry. If you've ever had a cat really unhappy, it's not fun. They just they kind of they don't meow anymore. It's like it's not a growl. I think it's called mewling. Like, let me out of this door. I got him. Don't worry. Thanks. But yeah, man. If there's anything if I wanted to blow some brain cells, man, I'd sit in TikTok comment sections. Whoo boy. Okay. Here's Elon Musk on Fox News saying the U.S. government's partying on taxpayer money. By the way, I want to keep pointing out, okay? I want to keep pointing out that Elon Musk said he and Doge were going to cut 2 trillion from the deficit, Okay. And they got 180 billion, and a program costs like 165. So they netted 15 billion, promised 2 trillion. I just want to make sure that if any of you did that ever at any job ever, you'd get fired. Not sure who Mama's Boy is in my comment section, but holy shit. Apparently there's like a sewage crisis in Alabama. Donald Trump ended that shit, called it illegal DEI. Hey, what up, YouTube chat? Y'all are so much nicer. But yeah, good morning, anybody. Anytime I realize I've got to wait, what in the Alabama? Yeah, I posted the link in the chat. If you aren't seeing the links here on TikTok and you're a sane human being, you might go up here into my profile and there are links to my YouTube channel. I also co stream this podcast live on YouTube. The chat is sane. And also, when I post links, you can just click on them and go right to them and read the news stories that we're posting. So if that sounds fun to you, I would suggest doing that. And given the influx of people on YouTube and the dwindling numbers here on TikTok, I'd say sanity is winning. Okay. You will be welcomed by a host of people. Okay. And again, want to point out, if you're new to the Resistance, you might want to check out Reddit. Okay. Angie said Angie from YouTube said sane people only TikTok. There are a few subreddits that I peruse. Okay. Protest Finder USA, R50501. Okay. I'm a big fan of this suppressed news. Okay. One of the things that I see is I look for patterns in the news. That's how I decide what we talk about. Okay. On suppressed news, you know what I'm seeing? All the stuff that you wonder, like, why aren't they talking about the May Day protests? And what you'll see is tons of actual documented protest footage. And this is where the control of media is sort of showing you its hand. But it's good if you're not. I don't know about anybody else, but one of the things that I'm not doing, haven't been doing, and don't intend to do is I don't know that I'll ever be able to go back and watch the news. Right? I don't think that I'll ever watch the news and wonder, is this the most important thing? Is this what we should be talking about right now? And if you've ever watched a news program and you wondered, like, this just this seems like a waste of my time and energy. Hey, that's what this is meant to do. This is, first of all, it's a little longer, right? My show's a little longer, 90 full minutes, and it's in the morning before really the headlines hit, right? The 9 a.m.ers, okay? And what we're sort of focusing on is wading through the nightmare, right? There's so many people that feel oppressed as a result of this regime, and my hope is that you instead feel empowered. That you recognize much of what this regime is doing is bluster. Yes, they have literally kidnapped and trafficked a few hundred people. Okay? You can call that you can call it deportation when they get due process. Okay? When there's no due process, that's not fucking deportation. So if anybody wondered why the ability to deport American citizens made it out of committee, it's because if they're American citizens living in the United States and you deport them, where the fuck are you going to deport them to? Exactly. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my adult life. And again, I just want to point out this is coming from the same regime, the Trump regime, that that Donald Trump committed an insurrection against his own administration. January 6, 2021. They harikari'd themselves, except it was stupid. Okay. Aw, name calling is a sign of a lack of intelligence. I don't know why you felt like that was what you would lead with. I need someone else to comment. Hurry. Thanks. Somebody say, e- explain how kidnapping someone and trafficking them. Thanks, Clark. Yeah, you understand that the 14th Amendment gives due process to all persons. And it doesn't say like American citizens only, white people only, right? Okay. So all persons. That's actually not true. You're living in denial. See, look at this. Somebody wrote in all caps, 0 legal American citizens have been deported. Deborah, you're in denial, dear. And I'm not talking about Egypt. Okay? I just want to make sure that I sleep like a fucking baby. I don't feel bad for the decisions that I've made. And I can say it with my full fucking chest that if you voted for this regime, you voted for American citizens to have their rights violated if they don't look like you. I just want to make sure we point that out. Again, I don't know why you're typing in all caps and that you keep posting the same thing over and over. The 14th Amendment guarantees due process to all persons. Do you understand which takes precedent? All persons. Mm-hmm. That means that it not American citizens. They don't have to be American citizens. Okay. I want to make sure, and again, I want to make sure that I'm using my platform to say that this regime, okay, the Trump regime, has kidnapped and trafficked a few hundred people to El Salvador, to a closed prison. Just make sure we say CCOT is not open. Okay, this regime kidnapped and trafficked a few hundred people to El Salvador. Those people are being used as political pawns. El Salvador's president contacted Venezuela's president trying to do a prisoner swap. using the people that the Trump administration had kidnapped and trafficked to El Salvador. Now, I'm not exactly sure which laws were broken here because I'm not a lawyer and I didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But understand that, man, it it's crazy to see anyone be supportive of the splitting up of families. And the level of brain rot in my TikTok comments is straight up fucking disturbing. And of course, there's lots of people living in absolute denial in my comment section right now on TikTok, and it is so unfortunate for you. Okay? You'll wake up one day. I promise. It's a bad dream. Okay? I'm going to give you a tune. One of my favorite songs. But it's perfect for you in this moment where you're wondering, I'm the only one in denial. That's crazy because there's like 100 people watching me right now, and I'm co streaming this on another platform, and the people on the other platform aren't saying that. That's crazy, right? Oh my God! They want to live in my country, and that's horrible. That's a full blown lie. Hmm. See, when you come on to my show and the words that come out of your gullet are like bullshit, you don't get to keep doing that here. So, good luck. Somebody said in June the shelves are going to be bare, and I hope by then people wake up. I'm hoping it happens before all that. Okay. I hope I hope there are more than just this Seven Dust fan in this very unprofessional. Who's unprofessional? Denial seems it had to come. Again, I just want to point out the level of brain rot and denial. And there's a reason I posted Denial, which is a song by Seven Dust. Fading into nothing. Like somebody telling me to move to China. Where were you indoctrinated? What college? Exactly. That's how you know, baby. That's how you know when you motherfuckers in denial come in my chat and they're like, what college did he go to? Exactly. You knew. Colleges. Thank you. I've been in college in 3 separate fucking decades, baby. There's a reason I'm so eloquent. But for real, a lot of you are just in denial, and it's a phase. You know, teenagers usually go through this shit, but now that you're adults, what does my hat say? Second Marine Division, Second Mar Div. Seems it had to come. I got me to say it all. Now you what I love. Oh yeah. See, I know not everybody listens to the music that I post, but you're being blessed. Okay, we were talking about all the people in my TikTok chat being in fucking denial, and I'm just posting the Seven Dust denial in the like y'all need the power of music is what y'all need. There's like 100 plus people watching us on TikTok. So hey, good morning everybody. Listen to me. Control what you can control. You need to get 8 hours of sleep a night. Okay. You probably need to take a nap. Okay. You need to drink water. You need to eat right and exercise. Okay. Save your fucking money. Get your money out of your banks. Get it into a credit union. You know, one of the trends that I'm noticing, okay? My clients at my job, I don't have to coach them to put their money in a credit union. It's already there. Are the alarm bells going off in your head yet? The people that are my clients are already put all their money in a credit union. Oh, somebody in TikTok said, bury your money. See? They're doing great over there. Because I work at a credit union. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, Bubbly. One of the things you'll realize eventually is that I'm not a capitalist. Banks are just not safe. This regime has weakened the FDIC. It's in your best interest. I don't work at a credit union. Morning, Danielle. Because a federally backed nonsense and credit union never holds up my password protection. I was going to say, Harley, I think you need a new credit union, my friend. But yeah, if I have anything for the masses, it's uh, it's all bluster, y'all. Let me explain this to you. He has signed 500 executive orders and presidential orders. Do you know how many made it to actual application? 100. Do you know how many bills the President of the United States has passed in his time in office so far? 5. And that means that that's the least in over 70 years. Now, you and I, that we should be like, whew, that's okay. Okay, tough 100 fucking days for 5 bills. Okay, scratching and clawing. And I want to make sure we continue to say things like leadership by executive order is no way to lead. It is signs of an ineffectual administration. Yep. Yep. And one of the pieces of legislation, so I want to keep this in mind. 5, one of the pieces of legislation that the president has passed is a continuing resolution. So I just want to make sure that y'all understand that that man has passed 4 bills in office and a continuing resolution in 100 days, and they're celebrating. I would feel oppressed if the people oppressing me weren't so goddamn bad at it. And that for the record is why we're lucky. That's why we're lucky. They're laying the groundwork for the next wave, but this particular ban, yeah. Yeah, and Donald Trump signed it. Harley, that's the whole point. He's like claiming it as like a bill he passed. Yeah. And on that, Harley, that's part of the reason that I'm all for the founding of the American Socialist Party. The United States deserves a political party that's for the people, that's not funded by big business or foreign interest. Okay? They deserve a party that's pro equality, a place where everyone, especially the people in the LGBTQIA plus community, especially people of color, can feel comfortable. How do we take back American politics and make it for the people? How do we do that? I spent a lot of time talking about that. How do we do that? Okay. It's called syndicalism. It's a belief in the importance of unions. Okay. Well, you know what's funny about this? Just the goat. My best friend, one of my best friends, has a master's degree in marketing. And you know what he told me? You know what they told me? Keep going. The American Socialist Party, ASP, whose logo is an Egyptian cobra. We already have the logo. You can find us on TikTok, Facebook, and we started on Blue Sky. Okay. So as far as the naming conventions, not only is that's already like done, right? So continuing to talk about that when that decision's already been made is moot. That tells me you don't have much else to contribute. Okay. And like I said, I have one of my closest friends has a master's in marketing. And when I told them I was going to start the American Socialist Party, you know what they did? They went and bought a fucking burner so that we could talk about this. So that they could be safe. Semper Fi, Mateo. The other day you had a religious service in the Oval Office. What the fuck? Can't imagine doing it, dog. See, it's part of the reason that I became an atheist. Is because all I've watched my whole life is people call themselves religious and just be the worst fucking people you've ever met in your life and claiming God the whole fucking time. And you're just like, you're in charge. And for the record, the best leaders I ever had didn't give a fuck about religion at all. Like the people that were in charge, that were good at their jobs, they didn't. You'd go to them and you'd say like, they'd try to buddy with you, and you're like, at what point is he going to tell me that he's like a raging Catholic and this is about to be the worst thing ever? And they're like, yeah, my family was too poor to go to church. And I also want to point this out as someone who grew up in a pretty uppity Methodist church. People that weren't tithing weren't like treated well. The people in my church growing up that had money, which is my fucking parents, they got treated well. And I watched the church treat other people poorly because their families didn't have a lot of money. And my parents, because were deep in Boy Scouts growing up, lots of the kids I was in Boy Scouts with would come to church, and my parents were tithing to the church to try to get other families accepted and treated well within the Methodist Church. But again, churches are not there to serve their communities. They are a business. And I've watched powerful people with oodles of not just money power, but power fail over and over again to get the most basic things right. For example, if you build a multi-million dollar church that has dead ass the nicest industrial kitchen I've ever seen in my fucking life, that could easily feed hundreds of people and could have fully functioned as a full-blown soup kitchen, and how come the 10 years that my family attended that fucking church, my mother ran that soup kitchen and it was open one night a week? Could have fucking done it all day, every day. People would have dropped shit off from who knows where. They could have hired my mom and had her run that fucking soup kitchen. For the record, that's where I learned to cook, right? Watching my mom prepare food for tons of people. Okay. And that's the thing about it, Al. Your boy spent quite a bit of time in college researching Jesus, and I'm happy to tell you my scientific, not religious at all ass. Jesus was awesome. Hmm. He obviously did not complete the miracles, but everything he said is fucking pretty good shit. And he also actually existed. Anything else you want to know about Jesus? I could fucking tell you. I did like 2 years of research on that dude when I was in college. Do you know the entire reason you know who Jesus is? Do you want to know the name of the person that is the entire reason you know who Jesus is? I want to see it in the chat because that tells me that you did your research too. There's one person ever to have existed that is the entire reason that you know who Jesus is. Clock's ticking. Who is it? Who, what single person in history is the, yes, S&M, it's me. Yes. Duh. His name's Josephus. He was a Roman librarian. You see, Rome fell, and the Roman librarians burned, including like a lot of documents. I don't know what that is. There's people in my comments like demanding my. Bro read my question and just didn't answer. Don't tell me you're lying about that. Lying about what? Yeah. So all I'm saying is Jesus is real, and the reason that you know who Jesus is because of Josephus, who is a fucking Roman librarian who saved a very important documents. Purdue University, Mike, and never see you again. Holy shit, you self-important fuck. I'm not lying either. I'm telling you the fucking truth too. And it's like you can't hear it. You can't hear it. Your brain cannot be permeated by the truth. Of course, I'm not lying to you. The entire reason that you know who Jesus is because of Josephus. You're welcome. That's a gift to. That's a gift to you. I did the work you didn't do. You're welcome. It should inform and empower you. I know. I don't call myself a Christian, but I think pretty highly of Jesus. As I've said, if you're just logical about this situation, he didn't complete the miracles. But there's plenty of other labor. There's plenty of other good work. Mm-hmm. To make it like he's like an appreciable figure. I understand why people are Christian. Mm-hmm. Because of Jesus. Mm-hmm. If you actually like study Jesus, you're like, hey, that's like the whole reason to be a Christian. And you know what's fucking crazy about that? And the reason that I'm not religious and I'm an atheist, right? I don't think Jesus was a deity. I didn't say that. Is because I can separate myth from reality and say, who was that person really? I don't know. I don't really know. I can tell you that his like origins story, thousands of instances before him. Do you know how many gods were born of a virgin birth? And that's what's important, is that what we get lost in is all the garbage that does not matter. That should not impact whether you like have faith or not. And people get lost. You don't have to accept someone for all the things that they are. You can accept them for part of what they offer. Mhm. Yep. Hey, what's up, Empress? So I know it's uncomfortable, but at least I'm not sitting here trying to give like supernatural power to someone. Mm-mm. Nope. It's the people that are like trying to turn Jesus into a superhero, right? It's like in my mind, let me explain something to you from my mind that's like disturbing. When I was in 4th grade, I went to a new school, um, Neil A. Armstrong Elementary in Mooresville, Indiana. And on Wednesdays, for 2 hours in 4th grade, I had to go sit in a trailer, an unair conditioned trailer, and learn about Jesus from the lady that was our fucking lunch lady. No disrespect to lunch ladies. Clearly, she was like superior. She was teaching us about Jesus. And I remember bringing home a coloring book page that the lunch lady slash Jesus lady printed off for me and gave to me and told me I could take it home and color it. And I just want to guess, I want you to guess, what was Jesus writing that your boy was like, can you photocopy that? And can I have that? I want to take it home. So I just want to know, what was Jesus writing? When I was in 4th grade, that I was like, I'm going to need a photocopy of that. And for the record, lunch lady slash Jesus lady, she did it. She printed the shit off. She handed it to me, and then all my classmates started laughing, and they wanted a copy too. And then like 17 of us came back with a photocopy of Jesus riding a fucking velociraptor. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that sticks out in my mind. That pervasion of Jesus. And then you can call it whatever you want. Like, Jared, it was for kids. You were in 4th grade. You know, they were just, the teachers just need a fucking break. Sure, man. Sure, man. I was confirmed in the Methodist church, though. So I was like super fucking serious about that shit when I was a little kid. So being in 4th grade and being pretty serious about your faith and having to ask your lunch lady slash religious leader, hey, can you photocopy this? This is hilarious. I'm gonna put this on a t-shirt. And I took it home to my mom. And you know what my mom did with it? She set it on fire. Yeah, she burnt that. Yeah, that's right. And she said it was sacrilegious. It would have made sense. It wouldn't have been nearly as good a story if it was a camel S&M. And I had a very small confirmation class in a large town. So I literally lived in a town where everyone calls themselves a Christian, but no one gets confirmed. I think 6 of us did. And then, like I said, when I was full of faith, as long as I can remember, and that cup started to like overflow, and I started to lose the handle on that when I was about 16. We've talked about that golf outing with my pastor, where he told me to stay away from seminary school. You're too smart for that. Go to college, do something with your life. And he also told me that this is a job to him. And then when I went to college, the Christian groups were full of creeps that no one liked. I don't want to be a creep no one liked. So I just kind of let it go. And what happened? I got introduced to other people's faiths. I didn't find one I liked better. It just made me realize, like, how narcissistic can you be to be like, the first religion I was introduced to as a child that my parents believed in, that's the one for me. How do you know that though? If you haven't been introduced to other walks of life, right? So one of the things I appreciated when I'm trying to remember without being disrespectful, because I also had a friend that was a Sikh. So I'm trying to remember which is the ones that I had a friend that was a Sikh and I had a friend that was Buddhist. Anyway, but they were super generous and super grateful. And it took something from me when you see someone that honestly made his former Catholic Christian, so I'm not atheist. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, while I was on active duty, I had a chaplain chide me for putting atheists on my dog tags and told me, "Hey, devil, haven't you ever heard there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole?" And I didn't know what a fucking foxhole is because I'm a stupid Marine. And I was just like, "Let me meet the foxhole. I don't know what's up with that shit." You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? He was in 1-2 and then PCS to 1-8. No shit. So I was in 2-2 and then 8th Reg headquarters. Mm-hmm. 2-2. 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines, Weapons Company. Most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history. I ain't no fucking war hero, but I know some. And the thing about it is, I want to make sure I point this shit out. As a veteran and someone who is not a combat veteran and has never pretended to be. First of all, only like 1.5% of all the people that have ever served have done that shit, and that's a shitty thing to want out of someone that you meet. And let me explain this as somebody who I probably know more combat veterans than 99.9% of the people you ever talk to. Yeah. Guess what they don't like wear on their shoulder or their sleeve. Guess what they're not like helly proud about, bro. That's exactly right. Whether or not they saw it or not, combat or not, right? Some of the most decorated. Exactly. Trilogy Hero said, and exactly. Bro, you ain't missing much, and I will tell you the combat wasn't worth what I have to deal with now. Um, before I joined the Marine Corps, I'm gonna tell you this story, Trilogy, and we're closer than you'll ever realize. So I lost 100 pounds in 90 days to join the Marine Corps. Okay, and in that period, my recruiter was like, "Hey, you need to make up as much money as you can before you go to boot camp because you're not going to get paid very much when you join the military, and you'll want some mobility when you get out of boot camp." So I worked two jobs for the last worked two jobs, was in the gym, like I said, lost 100 fucking pounds. Okay, and heard about y'all unicorns. To join the fucking Marine Corps infantry. Um, and in that process, I worked security. I worked overnight security here in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is crazy that after what I went through, I came back to this shit. And one of my regular rounds when I was working overnight security were Dollar Generals. And I don't know if you have Dollar Generals where you are, but that's like a Aldi but cheaper, right? And so one night I have to go to this Dollar General on East Street, which is US 31. It's a major thoroughfare, uh, just inside 465, which is the highway that surrounds Indianapolis. Okay. And long story short, I pull up to this Dollar General and get out and do a visual inspection. So that was like part of the role as security is exit your vehicle. There's cameras everywhere. Okay, exit your vehicle, flashlight on the door, make sure the door is locked, and also that it doesn't trigger when you walk in front of it and just open up even though there's nobody fucking there. Right? So on the door, door's closed, locked. When I walk in front of it, it doesn't open. And as I'm scanning the store, I notice that in the back of the store, the lights on the inventory deck are on. And I'm like, there ain't no fucking way they left them lights on back at the loading dock, right? Like, god damn it. And immediately, a police officer rolled up. And so for the record, I had immediate backup before anything happened. There was a black police officer, man, by the way, jumped out of his car, ran up to me, put his hand on my pistol, and said, "I'm glad you're packing." And I was like, "What?" And he immediately ran to the edge of the building, like away from the door, and he said, "They've broken into the back." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Open the front door and make sure that you lock it behind you." And I'm like, "What is going on?" And he's like calling for backup. I'm like, "What's happening right now?" And he's like, "You got to get inside the building. Something bad's going to happen." And so I went into the Dollar General, shut the door, locked it behind me. Alarm's going off. And I'm just like, what in the fuck is going on? I thought they left the light on. You know what I mean? I thought I was just going to walk in there, shut the light off, dumbasses, find out who clocked out last and be like, idiot. So, first of all, I think I heard gunshots before I rounded that corner, but basically I walked to the end of the aisle and turned right, and as soon as I turned right, I saw two men on top of a pickup truck shooting at me through the opening in an inventory dock, and then I saw the police officer move like into my frame, and so I made the dumbest decision I've ever made in my entire life. In my entire life, by the way, I went across the field of fire. Right, I went across so I could take a right-handed shot, and they were still shooting at me, and I poked my head around, and I won't lie. As soon as I got my pistol fully extended and my eyeballs could no longer hold open, I pulled the trigger twice, and I hit both of them below the waist, like in the leg. And by right about that moment, because everybody was engaging. The police officer was firing. They're firing at us. They were shooting at me. And I'm an idiot and don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I'm gonna cross the field of fire. That makes sense. So that I can take a right-handed shot. And the cop. So keep this in mind. Everybody always talks about like fog of war and shit like that. Bro, the fog started like as soon as I pulled my pistol out. It was like, oh shit, I can't see. That's exactly how it felt. Like your adrenaline's going so high, your blood pressure's so fucking high, right? You have never been in that environment before when bullets are just whizzing past you and you're like, holy shit, they're really shooting me. Didn't see that. I'm dead ass. I'm getting shot at and I'm like, didn't see this coming. I'm going to throw that out there. Did not think that was going to happen when I put on the vest today. This was before I was in the Marine Corps. This was months before I left. It's tunnel vision, sure. Oh my god, dude, as soon as I got my iron sight in front of my face, it was like blurry, and you were like, "What the fuck?" Like I could see perfect right before that. Now neither of them died. I got hit, but it was a flesh wound, so I have a little rinky-dink ass scar on my shoulder for it. By the time that happened, ceasefire, like 4 cops cross in front of my face, and I'm like, well, I'm putting that gun up, and taking down the 2 people in the back of the truck. And I've always asked, like, what the fuck were those people doing? So what they were doing is they were running a racket. Those
two people in the back of that pickup truck. And what they would do is they'd back their pickup truck up to a loading dock of like your small grocery stores, and they would steal things, diapers, paper towels, wipes, like specifically for mothers. And then what they would do is sell diapers $1 a piece. They'd charge you $25 on wipes because when the women would go to the store to get stuff, it'd be gone. And apparently there was like a network of like nine trucks that were being used in like the Indianapolis area to rob these places. And then it wasn't like Robin Hood, by the way. It wasn't like they were stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. They were, I think, I think that's scalping, by the way, right? When you receive something kind of scumbagish, like stealing it, and then you sell it, right? Lucia said, "Are you on some type of medication? Why do I need to be on medication?" Yeah, but if it was stolen goods, Rigid, is it still just reselling it? I thought there was like a term for that. Cece, he's already stolen money. This is about access to information for Elon Musk. hmm So keep in mind him stepping down from Doge fencing. Thank you, Dion. Not when they're dirt poor, Lucia. And you got to think about. Um, I always think about like the barefoot mother trapped at home with two kids, right? Doesn't have that, right? And I understand it was like a criminal network. I didn't like make that up. It happened like that. And I was just like, that's not what I thought was going to happen. I thought the light was on at the back of the inventory, you know? I remember when the EMTs, like, you don't need stitches. You're a giant pussy. um, they were just like, how long you been working security? And I was like, oh, I've been working for a couple months, you know, like anything interesting happen? Like, no, no, there's this, and then there's a lot of nothing. Uh-huh. Hmm. Well, you got to remember that time frame, the economy was terrible, like 04, 05. Mm-hmm. I had to work two jobs. My girlfriend at the time was working two jobs just to break even. Mm-hmm. So because that happened to me, when I got to the fleet in the Marine Corps, and I'm a boot to everybody, and you'd like try not to tell every fucking Marine you run into that I had already been shot and shot at before I even fucking got here, right? You try not to tell people that shit, right? Because then they're gonna fucking hate you worse, right? And so, fortunately for me, at boot camp, when I was at the rifle range, I shot a 242 out of 250 on the first day, and they wouldn't let me on that fucking range the rest of the fucking week because they were like, "Hold on, devil," and they sent me over to the unknown distance range and had me shooting with guys that I'd never fucking see again while they just stood there and watched. Nine on the green, nine on the left, and then they'd stop me. How far out was that? Like, I don't fucking know. You just told me to shoot some shit. What the fuck? Okay. So I know. Yes, Debs. This is all about information and control over information. Yeah, job market was trash. Absolutely. I mean, I went to school to be a pilot with a backup plan of being an air traffic controller, and a Republican administration destroyed that too. The FAA went on a hiring freeze. There were no air traffic control jobs, and the only pilot jobs you could find were flying regional aircraft. I'm 6'4". I weigh 300 pounds. What regional aircraft am I piloting? I'm not. I'm not doing that. That's stupid. I'm a huge person. Now, if it was like a 7 series, you're like, I'm a big guy. I'll be fine. But just getting on like a small aircraft, I'm like, this is the stupidest shit ever. For example, like an Osprey. If you know, you know. Thank the fuck God I did not have to get on an Osprey. I think that was Charlie Company. I think that's who did that was on an Osprey. I watched an Osprey crash from like 4 or 5 feet off the ground, and I was like, no, that shit's awful. But yeah, at least in the Marine Corps, all the shit that you ever wanted to do but either couldn't afford to do, or it's probably not like legal or okay to do, we did that shit. Yeah, there's whole generations of people. I was on an Osprey. Oh my God! Trilogy said I was on the Osprey that crashed in Afghanistan. So you knew. So you knew. So you can look this up, by the way. CAX 2006, AP Hill, Virginia, Charlie Company captain. I'm pretty sure it was their CO. Stepped onto the back of a Osprey, and he was like the biggest guy, and he was the last one on board. And then he walked from the back of the Osprey to the front, and that fucking Osprey went down. And I was just like, yeah, I'll just jump out of a helicopter. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't want to be on an Osprey. But that's crazy that I told that story and you're like, I was actually on an Osprey that crashed. I'm just glad you're here. Holy shit. Yeah, Jerry. Yeah. Happened in fucking training. I was standing and it was right next to it. The craziest thought process of this whole thing, I'm having fucking flashbacks to CAX. There was a tree like right there too. And that's why I like can't get the tree out of my brain where I'm watching the Osprey on the other side of the tree. I'm watching it load up with people. Captain's in the back. He's checking around. He gets on the Osprey, and then my brain is like, he's big. Like that captain's like a big guy. And I thought maybe if he gets on and he just immediately sits down, maybe it'll be okay. And that motherfucker did not do that. He walked from the back of the Osprey all the way up to the front as the last one on and the biggest person. And it's about the shift in weight in the aircraft, and then it immediately went into a low hover while there's a weight shift happening, and then I could see the captain's face at the front of the Osprey, and that shit went down. Yeah, at AP Hill. On the same conversation level, the coolest shit I saw in the Marine Corps were Harriers aboard the USS Bataan. That shit was fucking rad. A Harrier, for those of you that aren't real big on aircraft, a Harrier can take off vertically, like a helicopter, and then fly like an airplane. Similar to what like an Osprey is supposed to be able to do. I want to make more jokes about Ospreys crashing, but now that I know that you've been in an Osprey crash, that's not nearly as funny. It's kind of tragic. Sorry. Here's the President of the United States admitting that if the election hadn't been rigged, he wouldn't be here. Again. See, look, here's two Marines agreeing on one thing. You're using fucking acronyms. Are you talking about an up-armored Humvee? Is that what a MATV is? Is that what they ended up calling? No, one of the things I've noticed, Trilogy, is that anytime a veteran comes in here that isn't a Marine, cocksucker. Oh, it's a replacement for the Humvee. Oh, you want to hear a crazy story? So when I first got to 2-2, you can check me on this. They were on their 5th straight deployment to Iraq. It's like Christmas 05, New Year's 06. Okay? They're in Iraq with Humvees with canvas doors in 2005. I'm going to say it again because you're going to be like, what the fuck, Jared? When I got to 2-2, Christmas '05, New Year's '06-ish, like the beginning of 2006, we had to break in up armored Humvees, drive them the fuck around, and you're dead ass like taking tags off of shit. Like, what the fuck? What are they driving? And that was the whole thought process. The first like 30 days I was in the fleet is they were threatening to send me, like a brand new Marine, over on a C-130 with up armored Humvees to trade them with the guys that are currently there that have canvas fucking doors. So thank the good Lord baby Jesus that I was not like a year earlier into the Marine Corps and in the same unit, because I would have been on that deployment. You know how pissed I would have been in the fucking desert with like IEDs and shit, and your Humvees. You could throw a dinner plate through that shit. You know what I mean? Like under my legs. Now, know that one of the things that we have to say when we are talking about like the threat of Elon Musk touching things like your benefits is that they've already touched people's benefits. So know that there are already people who can't log into their accounts, haven't seen their money, aren't getting paid on time. I would like to point out that since this regime came into power, my benefits checks now like 5 days early, and it's kind of awkward when there's like a week between when you get your benefits and like when my mortgage is due, right? Oh, the president of the United States said that the election was rigged again. Not the first fucking time. Yeah. FDT buddy won. Yeah, like 8 times now. Yeah, it feels like we're living in the upside down. I'll say it out loud. Anyway, so I did share a story where Donald Trump had already sabotaged his case. Right? Against Abrego Garcia. Like he already said he could bring him home a couple times and won't. Just know they're going to use that against him. 100%. So a lot of people talk about like the stock market, and you know what's a really good indicator of a poor economy? Empty ports and tourist traps that are empty. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing midterms, unless he literally gets picked up. I mean, I want to make sure we still point out in the nicest way possible. Mark Rutte, who I believe is the UN Secretary General, is known as the Trump Whisperer. And he met with Donald Trump and said, "You should visit The Hague in June. It's beautiful." And I'm kind of thinking that might be a thing. Maybe they just arrest them all. Like, hey, come visit The Hague. It's beautiful. And they, like, They get the three dumbest fucking bad guys of all time to just be like, okay, let's just take a tour of The Hague. And you think I'm laughing, but like, seriously, yeah. We just want to get everybody here for a photo op. And they do it. Every one of them. You're like, there's no fucking way. Every elected Republican just, fuck it, I'm going to The Hague. Walking right past the guards and shit. Like, what's up, bro? Doing photo ops and shit. And then The Hague is like, we're having a surprise arrest. Like, you're all under arrest, you fucking idiots. And then we're going to do the trial right now. Yeah. I want to make sure everybody knows every elected Republican in the United States took money from Russia. Mm-hmm. Lots of them also took money from AIPAC, and that includes 100 Democrats. 100 Democrats that are elected right now, that are in office right now, took money from AIPAC, Israel. So if it ever feels like, man, there's a lot of outside influence in American politics from foreign countries, specifically Israel and Russia, that's why. And if you keep seeing Democrats appear to vote against what would be good for democracy, it's because there's what's called a blue dog caucus. And there are also 54 elected Democrats that vote conservatively. And for me, that tells me that I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'm not either of those things. I'm a fucking American, right? And what the Democratic Party and Republican Party are doing, for the record, I've said this regime is the death of the Republican Party. This Trump administration, because what's going to happen is they're going to do the whole take their ball and go home thing eventually, right? Like Elon Musk is trying to do, right? Where he's moved out of the White House and shit like that. Like they've kind of done that already. Yeah, votes against Democrats. Yeah, they vote conservatively. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so yesterday, when we were talking about 16 Democrats voted to confirm another member of Trump's cabinet, what are the odds that how many of those 16 are Blue Dog Caucus members or AIPAC recipients? We did share the story about the Trump administration kidnapped and trafficked 8 women to CCOT, which is an all men's prison. You said not all of the 16 that voted to confirm Trump's latest cabinet member were members of the Blue Dog Caucus? Okay. Or AIPAC recipients? So that's what we need. I think the U.S. could inspire the world with a massive workers' party. A pro-equality, pro-union workers' party. We're calling it the American Socialist Party, or ASP. An ASP, or aspis in Latin, refers to an Egyptian cobra, which we made the logo of the American Socialist Party. Mm-hmm. Yep, even Cory Booker voted to confirm. And again, one of the things that this administration, what the opposition party is not doing is oppositioning, right? They're not playing the opposition party. You're supposed to oppose. And one of the things that bothers me about these elected officials is like they have to be told what to do. And it's like, bro, you're an elected official. You're supposed to know what to do. Sorry, man. Just noticed my shit's all uneven. Sorry, guys. Why did nobody tell me to fix myself? But yeah. And obviously, yep. I don't feel like I should have to tell an elected official what to do, right? I don't think it's my job as someone who didn't go to fucking law school, doesn't have a political science degree, right? I don't feel like I should have to tell a Democrat, "Hey, you realize you're the opposition party and that if you just confirm every one of his fucking cabinet picks, you just made their life easier." Right? Like, why would you facilitate people who want to make other people suffer? Right? I, Play the opposition. Make every one of them go through the same rigorous process, and turn some of them away. Right? That would be playing the opposition party democratically. I know that people don't want to hear that. They just want compliance or defiance. But yeah, there's absolutely. Yep. And in my eyes, we need to get all of these people out of office. All of them. There's only like 600 seats of government. Okay? So we need people that have a good resume to like wake up and realize I'm not creating the American Socialist Party so I can run for office. That would be so shitty. It would just be bad. That's like doing things for the wrong reason, right? I set it up, I tell you what our foundation is, and then you figure out how to make it happen where you live, right? That's the goal here, right? I sit here and tell you I'm a proponent of universal health care, education, income, and housing. And then I sit here and tell you what the pathways are to that and the fact that there's studies that have done all of these things. And that if they can do the studies and they can be successful and they can repeat those processes, and you can make that available for all Americans, right? I want to continue to remind everyone you're probably paying hundreds of dollars a month for your health care, for example. Okay? I'm a champion of universal health care, so I would rather you not have to pay for that, especially when the healthcare industry is failing on both fronts, meaning it's failing financially. Just so you know, the healthcare market's fucking crashing. That's why I got out of it. Okay? Also, healthcare itself is a failure. Healthcare for profit itself is a failure. There's a reason I got out of that industry, is because I got tired of failing people. And there's nothing I could do about it. You know how powerless you feel when you're signing up people for healthcare that doesn't do anything? Okay? And know that universal healthcare is a light switch away. Here's why. If you live in the United States and you have Medicare and Medicaid, there are healthcare plans called dual special needs plans, D-SNP. Those dual special needs plans, they cost nothing. They cost nothing to use. They give you thousands of dollars of benefits. They'll pay for hundreds of dollars a month in groceries and bill money. Those policies already exist. You want to kill two birds with one stone? You want to save the healthcare industry? You want to save healthcare? Make it free. Guess what? Guess what? They're already doing it. They're doing it in front of your face. They're just not telling you, hey, we have to socialize medicine. If we don't, we're all going to die. And healthcare for profit's not out here to cure you and leave you alone and let you live your life. It's there to keep you under its thumb. Okay? And so know that universal healthcare, it's around the corner. Okay? When we talk about universal housing, know that all over the world, in the United States though, there are rich people that are building tiny homes and giving them away. That's socializing housing. Again, it might not feel like what you, again, justice doesn't look like what you think it looks like, right? Universal housing doesn't look like what you think it looks like. And it does. I 100% am behind someone that has money using their money to build houses for people and give them away. Hell yes. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. Except I think he did 250 homes and gave them away. So know that whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you like the marketing or not, or the name or not, right? Plenty of the feedback from people that don't know what they're talking about is, oh, socialism's such a bad word. And it's like, really? You love our policy? The people that vote for progressive policy. You call it progressive? It's socialism. Anything that's pro equality, that shifts the power balance, right? And we talk about the American Socialist Party is a syndicalist socialist party, where syndicalism is raising up the importance of unions whose memberships have been on the decline for decades, right? So we're trying to turn around and increase the faith in unions, right? So that we can take back our union, right? And again, the reason to be syndicalist is simple. It's because we don't rise to the occasion. We fall to our level of competency. So if you elect someone to office whose prior job was a union leader, whose job it is to grow their union, right? And to fight for better wages and benefits for their union members, right? Well, if you put that person in public office and all else fails, what is that person going to do if they're competent? Well, they're going to pursue policy that helps people get better wages and benefits because that's what they were competent at. Riveting, as always. I appreciate your here's to meet the rich and let's get out of here. Didn't get restricted or blocked on TikTok today, y'all. Just want you to know that. And man, these Tom Homan, not a fucking fan, huh? And yes, I saw Donald Trump talking about running in 2028. He's going to get his ass kicked. I'm telling you. I can just smell Barack Obama. And that would be like a lopsided fucking election. Like a 95-5. Anyway, I'm just thinking about Donald Trump trying to finagle the fucking rules to make himself able to run. That's why I've said we need the American Socialist Party. There is someone in the United States that is the best person to be the president. I don't know who that is. There's someone in this country that's the best person to be the vice president. I don't know who that is. There are 563 other people that are the best person for the job. And it's going to take people waking up and realizing I'm that person. I am the best person for the job. And it's some elected job. And it doesn't matter where you live. Look around. There's plenty of opportunity for you to get involved in politics. The smart people are afraid to do it because they're afraid of their impact. It takes one speech to change the fucking world. So I'm hoping it's someone that has sat in my audience, that has taken me in, that can regurgitate the shit that I say, that stands up and decides. Because here's what's also happening. The Republican Party is actively recruiting Democrats so that they can maintain a stranglehold. The Democratic Party, again, not being publicly reported, but is something that we're hearing more frequently, is fracturing. The big money Democrats and the young progressive Democrats apparently are split. So if you think, hey, more of the same is what we fucking need, then disregard. But if you listen to me talk and you're like, he's fucking right. We need a workers' party with people who are union leaders as the political leaders because they're not afraid. They'll speak out in public. They're great orators, right? They can inspire change. Because the Democrats and the Republicans are just going to fucking let you down. And it doesn't have to be this way. We can break modern politics. It can be fucking done. It will be done. And it'll be done by the American Socialist Party. What about the Working Families Party? You know what I'll tell you? They ask me for money before they tell me what their policies are. I'm not interested. Tell me about your policies first. I'm pro-equality, pro-union. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. It's that simple. I want the removal of this two-tier justice system. I want to see term limits for Supreme Court justices. I want to see a code of ethics that's enforceable among Supreme Court justices. Can you show me policy? Can you show me political ideal? Can you show me socialist theory or whatever political party you're with? Can you show me their platform? They don't fucking have one. If we don't form the American Socialist Party and demand universal health care, education, income, and housing, what they're going to do is they're going to part it out to us, and it's going to be the shitty version that doesn't help all of us. And like I said, if I go to your website for your political party and I hit a donate tag before I see what your policies are, then I know exactly what you're about. And I'm not interested. Because it is about people and it is 100% about policy and about principle. And if we don't have that, then our government doesn't mean anything. Ting. Dan, one of the problems I have with the accelerationist, isolationist, this authoritarian dictatorship is that they're not planning on any of us surviving that can do them any good. And it's like, hey, who's gonna mow your grass and pick your flowers and fucking wash your clothes and cook your food and drive your car? Who's gonna watch you when you're doing all this shit? You know what I mean? Like your fans. If they can't afford to live and they can't afford to work for you. And the worst part about working for this regime is that this regime is notorious for fucking over its labor. So, of all the people that you could ever want to work for, like these people are the people you don't want to work for because you know they're going to treat you like shit. And you know that they have the propensity to not pay. And I don't know about you. I don't know about you. You can pay me happily, handily, and treat me pretty bad. Okay? I've worked for some good money where I got treated like shit. Okay? But don't ever let me make good money and get treated well. And this regime is not known for either of those things. They will fuck you over on money and then fuck you too. And that makes them a non-starter, right? A non-starter for me. They're not for us. They're for them. And as I've said before, I figured Elon Musk out. Elon Musk, for example, only cares if he survives. That's his part in all of this, is that he's above average intelligence and extremely wealthy. He can survive this. And again, as I've said, this whole time, what they'll do if we let them, the billionaires, by the way, the very people who financed this regime, they will build prisons all over the world. They will imprison their political opponents and force them into slave labor. That's the fucking plan. I don't know what everyone else. Elon's working for free. Jeez, Elon's lost $750 billion and he is going to lose everything. What's happening with Tesla is unrecoverable. And good. Good. So anyway, I got to get out of here. It's late. Have a good day. But yeah, the game plan for sure. Anyway, I got to get out of here. Have a good one.